This is number 2 because in recording number 1, a camera was blurry. Actually, this is one of my favorite content bits because it relates to everything else, and people don't know about this. People don't know this or understand this. The words you choose to use and the thoughts you choose to think ultimately shape your destiny. Sharma. Think twice before you speak because your words and influence will plant the seed of either success or failure in the mind of another. Napoleon Hill. Now onto the proof. The monster study and the power of words. The monster study was a controversial experiment by Wendell Johnson, a speech pathologist at the University of Iowa. To say it was controversial doesn't really give it the drastic title that it needs. This is a really crappy study that ruined a lot of people's lives. It also proved what we know and I would assume knew back then. The experiment was designed to test the effects of verbal criticism on the development of stuttering in young children. Johnson and his team selected 22 orphan children who had normal speech and randomly divided them into 2 groups, a control group and an experimental group. The children in the experimental group were subjected to a series of verbal criticisms and negative feedback about their speech, while the children in the control group were given positive reinforcement and praise for their speech. Let's be clear. They took 22 random orphans and split that group in half. Half of them were criticized about their speech, and the other half were given positive reinforcement about their speech. So one group was told that they stutter and their speech is not up to par, and basically they're terrible. While the other group was told their speech was great, they don't stutter, and they're very eloquent. The results of the study showed that the children in the experimental group who were criticized for their stuttering developed significant speech problems and low self-esteem, while the children in the control group who were praised for their speech showed significant improvements. This led Johnson and his team to conclude that verbal criticism and negative feedback can have a detrimental effect on the development of stuttering in young children. Verbal criticism and negative feedback can have a detrimental effect on everyone, at every age, at every stage of life. One of the most significant effects of the monster study was the development of self-doubt in the children who were criticized for their speech. The constant negative feedback and criticism they received led them to believe they were inferior and inadequate, which in turn caused them to doubt their own abilities. This self-doubt manifested in a variety of ways, including a decrease in self-confidence and an increase in anxiety and depression, and a lack of motivation to improve their speech. Someone tells you that you suck at something for long enough, you will lose motivation to try to be good at it. If you tell someone that they're terrible at something for long enough, they will lose the motivation to be better at it. I'm looking at bosses, managers, executives. Stop telling your employees that they're terrible at something and they'll be better at it. Keep telling people that they're bad at something and they'll have no motivation to improve it. The consequences of the monster study were far-reaching and long-lasting. The children who were subjected to verbal criticism and negative feedback suffered from psychological and emotional trauma that persisted for many years. In some cases, the effects of the study continued to haunt the children into adulthood, leading to a lifetime of low self-esteem and self-doubt. Unless something happened or someone came along that reversed through a lot of positive reinforcement the things that were said, these children lived with this forever. And they eventually won a lawsuit against the university. Yes, self-doubt and negative thoughts can have similar effects on the criticism used in the monster study. Both can lead to feelings of inadequacy and low self-esteem, and can undermine a person's confidence and ability to perform at their best. Negative thoughts and self-doubt can arise from many different sources, including past experiences, societal pressures, and comparison with others. These negative thoughts can become a self-fulfilling prophecy, causing you to doubt your abilities and potential, and leading you to underperform or avoid challenging situations. In this way, self-doubt and negative thoughts can be just as harmful as the criticism used in the monster study and can have lasting effects on a person's mental health and well-being. There did not need to be a study for this information to be obvious.